Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Happy Saturday. And yes, this is the last Saturday of April, y'all. We are headed into May, then the summertime. My birthday's coming in June. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the summer months. It's about to get hot around these parts. If you in Florida, you know, because that AC and them tinted windows ain't gonna do nothing. It's still gonna be hot. But I'm ready for the seasons, right? Ready for the seasons. And I am aware that we're about to close out this series for this month season of April, where we have covered the beauty of becoming and when it feels like nothing is happening. So if you have not watched those videos, pop back in on the IG and you will be able to find those episodes. So this last episode is called Don't Rush the Bloom. So I want to thank everyone who is joining on Her Divine Journey podcast on the platform Where Is That Speak with your host, me, Brandy, aka B Jules. So you know the routine. Make sure you got your cup of tea, of OJ, water, juice, coffee, whatever it is that you need to start your morning off. And let's get into it. So good. I love tea. Y'all, I love me some tea. I love me some tea with some honey, a little bit of milk. And when I went to London, I didn't realize I was doing it the English way because they put a little bit of honey and milk in their tea as well. So I don't do sugar in my tea though. That's not my thing. But yeah, most of them did that. And I love that about London. It was so cool. So the theme of this series has been learning to be patient in the process and embracing God's pace. So I want this to be encouraging, peaceful, and truth-filled. And the scripture we are going to anchor down on is Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. It's a beautiful verse, right? But that proper time, it doesn't say my time. It doesn't say your time. It says the proper time. So don't rush the bloom. Because maybe you've done the healing and you've surrendered. You've stayed rooted. And yet the breakthrough hasn't come. And you're wondering, God, how much longer? Let's talk about it. So this isn't in my notes, but thinking about timing. I'm going to use the Old Testament. Like most of the stories in the Old Testament, God took time. Like Abraham and Sarah to have a kid, I believe they waited 25 years. There was a couple other stories like this isn't just a month, a week, a day, a year. It is some time, y'all, that God takes to prepare and to allow it to be at the proper time. So they didn't live in such a instant or fast-paced society as we do now. But even they got impatient, right, with God. And they took their own route. And if you know, it's the first story of baby mama drama. And if you don't know the story, I suggest you go back and read. So when they took matters into their own hand, baby mama drama happened. There's this child that is now not wanted, and now God's gonna bless them with their child. But they caused a whole ruckus because they couldn't wait for the proper time. And we live in a instant gratification, let me get it right now, let's do it right now society. And just because we live like that does not mean that God is like that. So God never changes. He is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So his ways are not changing just because the world has changed. So have you ever planted something and then checked the soil every single day, hoping to see a sprout? I'm not a gardener. I do not have a green thumb. I love gardens. And if I could pay someone to maintain a garden for me, I would so do it. But I do remember, like, as a child in school, when we would, like, plant certain plants. I mean, we was checking that thing more than once a day, looking for the, the green, the something to pop up. And it was exciting, right? You're just, like, anxious. But there's so much going on inside with that seed and the soil and the darkness that we don't get to see. But we do that with our lives too. We're constantly checking, like, where is it? Is it coming? Is it here yet? Where's that sprout? Where is it? I planted it. Where is it? But here's the thing, y'all. Everything beautiful takes time to grow. And when we rush the bloom, we risk damaging the process. Again, Galatians 6:9 tells us to let us not grow weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So we can't grow weary. We can't, just because we don't see it today, we don't see it tomorrow, we don't see it next week, we don't see it in a month, we don't see it in 6 months, we don't see it in a year, we don't see it in 3 years or 5 years. We are told to not grow weary in doing good. So let's be real. God's timing, his timing, usually takes a lot longer than we hoped, but it's always better than we imagined. So there have been seasons in my life when I try to make things happen faster. Relationships, opportunities, and even healing. But rushing always left me feeling more broken, more confused, and more tired. So I'll give an example of when I wanted something to happen faster. So when I first started walking with God, so it'll be 6 years this October that I gave my life to Jesus for real this time, right? And I started a relationship with him, and I started to build on that relationship with him. And sex, I'm gonna get real, y'all. Sex was a huge part of my identity, of my being. I was highly sexually active, and it was something I did, right? And when I had to learn about sex and learn what it means, its significance, right? I didn't have that belief system in me. It was a process, and I went celibate for a year. It was the first time that I had ever chosen to be celibate since becoming sexually active in my teenage years. And right at like my year mark, I felt like I got this. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm good. I'm healed. I can, take on any temptation. Like, I felt so strong and so empowered, which there wasn't anything wrong with feeling empowered, because I had made an extreme breakthrough. I had to change a lot, and it was a lot that I went through mentally and even in my heart. So that wasn't the problem. The problem was my ego and my pride. And then I decided, well, we're going to move things a little bit faster, because I've been celibate. And so I need a male. I need a man. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And God, you're taking too long. And, did I fall flat on my face? Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. That year, in like the course of 6 months, I went back to an ex. I had like 3 new partners. I ended up getting pregnant. I was drinking more. I mean, it was insanity what happened. And I was walking with Jesus, like for real. And this happened. So, God had to slow me down. And I had to allow him to pick me back up. I had to get that dirt off of me. And now I have been about 4 years in celibacy, November of this year. And if you want to know more about this story, because there's a lot more details, there's a lot more tea, okay? There is a lot more. Remember, my book is coming out in September, okay? Keep that month, because that is the month that all the tea is going to be spilled, okay? Nothing's being held back. And I am going to indulge in what that looked like. So yeah, that is one story. I have multiple that I have tried to rush God and not waited on his timing. But I will say I am still waiting on my man to come. He has not shown up yet, but I will not rush that process, okay? I won't. No, ma'am. Because now I see what I thought was a delay was really his protection and preparation. What if your wait is working for you? See, I kept thinking my wait was working against me. Because the longer I had to wait, the more I started getting anxious, frustrated. I want to know the answers. I want control. I'm going to take this in my own hands. Jesus, give me back the wheel. I got this. Okay? So that's just how that goes. And then 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, let's say that 10 times out of 10, you end up causing more issues if you would have just waited. So what if your wait is working for you? Like, flip that script. Okay, it's taking a little longer. I'm not seeing something. How is it working for me? Ask yourself that. How is this working for me? Ask God that. God, how is this waiting, you're making me wait, working for me? Instead of allowing it to work against you. And what if the bloom God has you for is so sacred, he is taking his time with it? We all love food, right? Food, especially when somebody knows how to cook, y'all. Take your breath away, right? Feed your soul. you just are in like a sacred heavenly place when food hits that right spot. But there's a difference between someone putting their time, building from scratch, being in that kitchen for hours, sometimes even days, depending on what you're cooking in the process, right? Versus something that you just take out the freezer or the fridge and pop in that microwave and put it on 5 minutes. There's a huge difference in how it tastes, how it's presented, how it fills you, how it's a different sensation. Okay, you don't really get to that heavenly place. I promise you, I haven't gone to a heavenly place with a pop-up in the microwave, food. So if someone doesn't take their time with certain things in life, and food is not the only scenario, there's multiple, but just for you to get an idea, it can turn out pretty disastrous, right? It can turn out not so good for us. So if he's taking his time with it, then trust it, because maybe it's so sacred, it's gotta be just right. So this week, I want you to reflect on these. Where am I trying to force growth in my life? Am I trusting God's pace or fighting it? And what fruit is being formed in me right now? So again, where am I trying to force growth in my life? 2, am I trusting God's pace or am I fighting it? 3, what fruit is being formed in me right now? You don't have to rush to be worthy. You don't have to bloom to be beautiful. You are becoming, and that's more than enough. So that is how I'm going to end this episode. I hope that this episode has touched one heart, one mind, one body, one soul, one spirit, and that it has impacted you in a positive, godly way. So now we're going to do fun fact segment. So did you know that the corpse flower, one of the world's largest and rare flowers, takes up to 10 years to bloom? But when it does, it grows over 6 feet tall in just a few days. Bro, 10 years. So look that thing up. Look up that flower. 10 years. But in a few days, it grows so tall. That's crazy. Like, so it's not even with us. Like, even creation, there are things that take time. That's the way God has implemented his world, by taking time. And that is something that I believe we need to get a hold of more in society, is time. Time is not something you can get back. And if you're constantly rushing, if you're constantly busy, if you're constantly seeking that gratification, the instant, you're gonna miss life. You're gonna miss it. Because it's only here for today. And that's it. It's only here for this present moment. And that's it. So growth may be slow, but when it's time, it's powerful. Woo! So sis, if this episode gave you permission to slow down and trust God's timing, would you do me a favor? Would you share it with someone who needs to hear you're not behind, you're blooming? Leave a review, subscribe, and stay connected, because the journey doesn't stop here. So join me next month as we step into a new series designed to remind you of your purpose, your power, and your peace. So until then, Take a deep breath. Stay rooted and don't rush the bloom. You're right on time. You are on His proper timing. Ta-da!